InDesign, we're going to just create a letter size page. Defaults are totally fine. And let's immediately save this as GRC 30_241113 LECT underscore last name underscore first initial. Now I'm going to also create a folder. Do I have to keep saying that? Because you should be in the habit of that by now. No one's answering, so I guess I do need to keep saying it. All right, so that folder's selected. This is what I've named the file. GRC 30_241113 underscore LECT underscore your last name underscore your first initial. Okay. Save. Awesome. So the first thing we want to do is check on something in our preferences. So from the menu at the top here, we're going to click on the word InDesign and go to Preferences. And what was it? Hold up. Wait a minute. Is it grids? Nope. All right, give me a sec while my brain gets back in gear here. Interface, user interface scaling, type, advanced type, composition, huh. Well, we'll figure it out. I don't remember what it was. All right, so what I want to do is I want to create a grid, first of all. So I'm going to go to Layout and Create Guides. I'm going to do 10 rows with no gutter and 10 columns with no gutter. And I'm going to align this to the page. So again, I went to Layout, Create Guides, 10 guides with no gutter, sorry, 10 rows with no gutter, 10 columns with no gutter, and make sure that I'm fitting the guides to the page. And then click OK. And next up, I'm going to add some columns. So going back to Layout, Margins and Columns. And I'm going to do 5 columns. With a 0.375 inch gutta. So again, Layout, Margins and Columns, 5 columns, 0.375 inch gutter. Sorry, just messing around. All right, and click OK. Now I'd like you to draw out 5 rectangles and give each one a different fill color and no stroke. And make sure it's within your guides, either using the column guides or using the layout guides that we created. Don't lie to me, Koo. My heart can't take it. Did I just figure out a new shortcut? Okay, wait a minute. What the heck did I just do here? Holy moly. Watch this. I just learned a new thing by accident. Alright, I drew a rectangle like this. And I brought the fill color forward over here on the left-hand side toolbar. Remember, X brings the stroke forward. X again brings the fill forward. So I'm going to bring the stroke forward, hit / to get rid of the stroke. But instead of double-clicking on this to choose a color, I'm going to hit the period key. And it automatically creates a gradient. Who knew? These are the things that make life worth living. Am I right?
Yes.
There we go. Awesome. And make sure, just select each of your shapes in turn and make sure they are all without a stroke. And then save your work. The reason we're doing this tonight is because you're going to need to know how to do this particular thing when we get to the final, because I am not going to open up a bunch of InDesign files. Maybe I will. But the more I can get into a PDF, the better off we are. Now, by default, when you create a PDF of your lovely layout, it gets rid of the guides in the PDF file. So no one needs to see your guides when you share this as a PDF, but there may be situations where you do want to share your guides. So in that situation, we need to do our PDF a little tiny bit differently. So to create a PDF, you can do File, Adobe PDF Presets, or you can do File Export. We're going to do File Export. Command E is the shortcut for that. Also, first of all, make sure you've saved your file. Command S for snake, and also save. And then export. And it brings up this lovely dialog box. A lot of times we'll just click save and blow right through this, but there's one change we need to make. We need to set this from interactive to print. Very important. How your elements get interpreted and thrown into a PDF file is dependent on whether you set this format as print or interactive. Another thing I learned recently is that you can add an animated GIF to an InDesign page, and if you export it as an interactive PDF, it will be animated in your final PDF. Isn't that crazy? What will you guys think of next? Flying cars. Come on, Elon. We were supposed to have those in 2015, according to Back to the Future 2. All right, so where we want to be focusing is two areas. Oh, I'm going to turn this down a little bit more. This is not exactly. How are we? Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. There are a lot of options here, and we will go over these, but not tonight. What we want to focus on tonight is this checkbox right here and that checkbox right there. Notice it won't let us check it. Try it. It won't do it. And we'll say no. No, thank you. That's because we have to choose a more recently compatible version of Acrobat. So up here under compatibility dropdown, we're going to choose Acrobat 6. Say again?
Mine was already on there.
Was it already on 6?
Yeah,
Okay. So it's very likely that you probably have already exported something with Acrobat 6 or have been, because that kind of is a default that gets set when you change it. Cool. So yeah, if yours is already set to 6 or a number higher, you're good to go. Now, when we create PDFs, side note, you want to make sure that you're not doing the latest and greatest version of Acrobat. In fact, Acrobat 8 and 9, the export version here, Acrobat is on at least 10, it might be 12 now. But not everybody has the latest version of Acrobat. Also, older versions of Acrobat, believe it or not, can be a little more secure because there are things that they don't allow, like interactivity, JavaScript, all kinds of cool stuff like that. So in my work, I like to choose a version of Acrobat that's as old as it will let me choose while still retaining the functionality that I need. So the older version, the more compatibility you'll have with other readers, not just Adobe, but the Mac can open PDFs as well with their program. They can quick view PDF files. There are a lot of other programs out there that can open Acrobat files. So we want to make sure we maximize compatibility as much as possible. All right, so we have to choose Acrobat 6. Now this is clickable, so we're going to go ahead and click that, create Acrobat layers. And the export layers drop down, we're just going to choose all layers for fun. And under include, we're going to click visible guides and grids. All right. So one more time. Acrobat 6. Create Acrobat layers. Export all layers. And include visible guides and grids. Now there's a 50-50 chance this won't work because that's how my day is going, but let's see what goes. All right, click on export. Dun, dun, dun. All right. And then you'll need to open up the folder where you've sent this file to. And there it is. And if you double click it, it should open up. Oh, mine's not going to open up in Acrobat because this computer opens it up in preview. So I've got to right click and open with Adobe Acrobat. That's fun. But you can see, dun, 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 there's all of our guides. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Now on the right hand side of your Acrobat, first of all, have I lost anyone or everyone? We good? Need some help? I'm there. I'm coming. Excuse me.
And I don't have Acrobat.
Yeah, I need it.
Okay, so if you do not have Acrobat, you'll just follow along. We'll get Acrobat installed for you. So if you do have Acrobat, and you do have this show, hide, or modify layered content, click on that, and this layers panel will pop out, and then you have to twirl down this greater than sign, and it will show you your layers. And so layer 1 has our content, and then we have an automatic layer that created that contains our guides and grids that was created when this was exported. Now, why would we want to do this? The primary reason is for your teacher to be able to see that you are lining up your stuff on a grid system, or that you have employed a grid system. In production, Acrobat is not a design program. You may do touch-up stuff, like maybe you want to move a word or edit a typo, but for the most part, we do not use Acrobat as a design program. It will let you create, to some degree, things like text, and you can actually choose typefaces, but it is a very, very poor design program. We used to have an Acrobat class here, and students would take it thinking they were going to learn, as they called it, Adobe. But Adobe, as we know, is not a program, it's a company. And Acrobat is a very powerful tool, but it is not for graphic design to create designs. Now, you can do cool stuff like embed JavaScript on your artwork if you're sending something to your client and they decide, oh, you know what, I'm just going to print this out myself. Well, you can set it up so that JavaScript will show them your art, but when they go to print, it just shoots out a blank page. That is a fun thing to do to people. But this is not an Acrobat class. This is InDesign. So there we go. And that's it. That's really all I wanted to talk to you about today in terms of lecture, is the ability to export your file to a PDF and include the guides and the grids. Anything that you've created here that is columns or a grid, we would like to be able to include that in future projects that I'm going to tell you about. All right, go ahead and save this. That's weird. It's not saving. And then everyone should have exported this as a PDF. Not everyone has Acrobat, but I'm guarantee it worked with the guides. If you are looking at the file in Finder, when you select it, it will preview it, and that's how you know that it included the guides. If you do not see the blue and purple lines, then something did not get exported correctly. Let me know and I can help you out. But for those of you that got this accomplished, give me a sec. I'll get the lecture file open, and then you can submit that for today's lecture. And then in the meantime, let's be working on this lab, Principles of Design Guide. And that's it. The end.